All right, we are back. All right, so hopefully this made sense for folks. This down so I can access it better. All right, this was your problem. And you did not need to do this formula. So no formula at all, just use the calculator, and you guys should have gotten negative 0.944. So it's a strong negative relationship, right? It's close to -1. So this is close to -1, so it's -1 would be a perfect line, a perfect linear relationship. This is very, very close. Strong negative relationship. Only for chapter 10 or 11 too. I'm not sure. Oh yes, in terms of us using the calculator a lot and it being very, very straightforward and simple, chapter 10 and 11 are both going to be really, really easy. You just got to be here and do it the way that I show you guys. So we're going to be doing things super simple, straightforward as possible for these next 2 chapters for the rest of the semester, basically. All right.
Professor Young?
Yeah. Go ahead.
That question was asked when you taught us the calculator trick, and you said that H1 is always going to equal not equal.
I think it is, definitely for chapter 10, and I am, yes. So what they're going to be is they're going to be is a relationship, isn't a relationship, that sort of thing. So yeah, it's always going to be is or isn't, but chapter 11, it won't necessarily be two-tailed, and because chi-squared is only goes in one direction. It starts at 0 and goes to the right. So it's always going to be not a relationship, or no line, or not something, and then is something, is a relationship, is a line, that sort of thing. But so they won't be greater than or less than, but chi-squareds will have sort of a tail. It's a little bit weird, just in the way that they work. Does that make any sense? So yes and no. Yeah. So this one definitely equal to and not equal to. Yeah, and actually I changed chapter 11. I do chapter 11 weird. I revised it to make it match that better. So that will also be equal to and not equal to. And the last section of chapter 11, I can't think about right now. I think it will be similar, but definitely for chapter 10 and for 11.1 and 11.2 for sure. 11.3 I can't guarantee. Okay. So here's the hypothesis testing. Step 1, so again, the same 5 steps we have all along. You're going to state your hypotheses. For this one, it's always going to be equals. Because remember, H naught is always equals. In this case, rho equals 0. H naught is always going to be also no, right? It's usually no difference. In this case, it's no correlation, no line. It might be really easier to think about it in terms of no line or not a line, because that is really kind of what you care about in terms of the predictions later on. So no line, no correlation, equal to 0. H1 will be the opposite of that. Not equal to 0, so not equal to 0, which means that there is a correlation and there is a line. So that's the thing that's kind of weird. People get thrown off because they see a not equal to and they want to go with not, right? But remember, this means equal to means no difference, right? If 2 things are equal, there's no difference. No line, no correlation. So here, there is a difference. It is a line. Right, it is different. Not equal to means it is different. So there is a correlation.
Mrs. Young?
Yeah.
For this, are we looking at it like, so not a line would be anything 0.4 and below?
I'll show you. Don't go there yet. Don't think about it yet. I'll show you in a minute. Okay. So make sure you guys are clear on what H naught and H1 stand for, though. H1 is not a line or close to line, line-like, and H1 is a line or close enough to a line. Okay. So that leads us to part 2. But make sure you guys are clear about this, right? Because people get mixed up on these, and that causes all sorts of issues later on. So H0 is always no. No line. Null, none. No line, no correlation. H1 would be is. Yeah, is a line, is a correlation. So this is what you're talking about, Noe. So this is what we're going to get into. So here are our 5 steps that we're used to. Step 1, state your hypotheses. But don't worry about a claim. We're not even going to, from here on out, we're not going to sweat the claims. Don't worry about the claims. If I give you a problem with the claim, then just, we'll work around it. But we don't care about the claims. Step 2, and you won't get those on the final. Step 2, find alpha and critical value from the PPMC table. So here, we're going to get our critical value from a table, right? This is our table. And again, remember that we have 2 variables, x and y. So now we're going to do n minus 2 instead of n minus 1 because we used to have just 1 variable. Even we had 2 samples, so it's still just 1 variable, right? Heights or blood pressure or whatever it was. Now we have 2 different variables. We've got number of cars and income. Those are not the same thing at all. Those are 2 completely different things, 2 different variables. So it's going to be, my degrees of freedom is n minus 2 now. So you'll figure out what your degrees of freedom is, and then I'll tell you which row to use. And then up here, your levels of significance. So it'll either be 0.1, 0.05, 0.02, or 0.01, and that tells you what column and which thing to grab. So you're going to find your critical value, and you're going to make a line, just like we always have before. You're just going to have this sort of continuum, and you're going to have out here is 1, out here is -1, and then your critical value, you'll put those in shade. And the thing about it is, remember, chapter 10 is always going to be two-tailed. So you're always going to have a negative side and a positive side. And then zeros in the middle and -1 and +1 are on the outside. So let me show you. I think I did. No. Really? Oh, I know why. No, I don't know why. Okay. Let me go to that page. Hold on a second. I did a very bad picture of it, but I think it will be helpful. Okay, so we have our line here. This is a perfect line, 1. Over here, if there's a perfect line, the opposite is -1. So the -1 and the +1 would be if you had perfect correlation, either negative on the left side or positive on the right side. And then you're going to find your critical value. Look it up on that table. So say I look it up and it's, I don't know, 0.632 or something like that. That'd be my critical value. I put it in here, the positive 0.632, and shade, and you also put in a negative 0.632, and you shade this way. So it's just like we did before. You have your critical value, you shade to the outside. This is your guilty region over here. This is your guilty region over here. So these are the spots where you would reject H0, if it's over here or over here. Same as chapter 8. This is totally consistent with that. And then this inside part is your not guilty range. This is when H0 says that you're right here. So this would be like, okay, I'm close enough to H0 that I'm close enough to, my row is close enough to 0 that I'm okay. So you would not reject H0 if you're in here. This is the not guilty range. Over here, you get something unusual, or over here you get something unusual. These are your rejection regions over here. You get something beyond the critical value, the outside of it. So it's very consistent with what we did in Chapter 8. That's why I'm kind of sticking with the same thing so we don't get things confused. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is state your hypotheses. Again, remember H0 is always, always, always equals. Rho equals 0. No line. H1 would be, there is a line. Rho is not equal to 0. And then, second step, find my critical value. So alpha is 0.05. My degrees of freedom, I have 6 items here. So my degrees of freedom is going to be 6 minus 2. It's going to be 4. So I'm going to grab 4. It's one of these rows here. And then alpha 0.05, right there, it's going to be 0.811. That's going to be my critical value. So then I need to make a little thing down here. Draw it across. So this is, on your notes, this is the example we're doing at the bottom of page, the third page, where it says example test correlation coefficient found in the car example. The very bottom of the third page. That's where we're at on the notes. So you're going to draw your lines and your ends on both sides, and then you're going to put in your critical value, positive and negative 0.811. So negative 0.811, shade over here, positive 0.811, shade over here. And then if you want, you can put a notch in the middle just so you know where 0 is. It kind of helps, but you don't have to. All right, so then you have your blue stuff here. And then we gave you R. Don't look it up or don't calculate it. For today, we're just going to give it to you. Here it is, because you are proving you calculated it before the break. So here's the R, 0.982. So 0.982 would go right in here between 0.811 and 1. It's between these two. So I'm going to go right in there. It's totally in the rejection region, right? You guys can see that? So we're absolutely totally going to reject H naught, which means that we have enough evidence. Don't worry about the claim. Instead, we're going to do this. Enough evidence of correlation between cars and income. That's it. Done. We're going to keep these parts super straightforward, super simple. Enough evidence, in this case, of correlation between cars and income. Questions before you guys do your own? You guys have one of your own. If you flip the page, this is the page we're going to be turning in today, I believe. I think so. Lab problem number 4. So next page, lab problem number 4. Do not calculate R. You do not have to put anything into your calculator. You do not have to do that. You just have to do the test, practice the steps of the test without worrying about step 3, because we're just going to give you what R is for right now. You've already calculated stuff previously. And use 2 of them. So first, use it, yours is, yeah, there you go. Just do one of them. Yeah, that's it. Lab problem 4, just like it is. Alpha is 0.01, R is 0.307. I'm going to open up the rooms and let you guys go in there.